Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy day before Christmas, I guess. Unless you're in Asia, in which case it's probably too late. But that's fine. I said that JC9 was our inter-holiday DOK special, so I better get it done before Christmas starts, eh? At any rate, we're moving on to the semifinals of the upper bracket, and this one's going to be a game between myself here, Bozocow, and Cookies up in the top there. Yeah, that's what I just said, Sikai Jin. Use your brain, man. Anyway, Cookies, of course, playing the yellow and purple here. And he actually is going to pick Soban for this series here. I was expecting him to go Conef, that is his main. Cookie's a player who I'm not really too worried about in this series. I mean, generally he is pretty good. But I feel like he makes a little bit too many mistakes to like really challenge the top tier of players. And so, I was feeling pretty confident in this series, but I do know if I go off faction too much, he is actually pretty strong. I was playing some games against him, trying to practice Coalition, because I was considering perhaps playing this in the finals, but he convinced me not to. My Coalition is pretty bad. But he's going to pick Soban here instead of Conef, and then I'm going to match it with Conef myself. Feeling pretty confident about this. This is going to be ref mode first, clearly for me. I keep the base runner there. And as for him, this seems like LAV spam with carry production upgrade on the way pretty soon. He's got two salvagers on RUs here though, so he may flip one of these over, but it looks like he's probably going to leave them there. So that'll be interesting to see. He'll have quite a bit more resource units than you ordinarily expect to have when you're doing an LAV rush. Sanskrit Fat starting for me, so no greed here. I mean, hey, it's Kalash Teeth. I mean, I'm kind of expecting an AAV rush, to be honest. I don't want to die to that, so. You can see Salvager getting queued for the production cruiser though. But not until Sanskrit Fab has started. And I want to like do something with this base runner, but I'm realizing like, well, if I find something out there, I'm probably just gonna die. So bring that one back home. And refinery mode finishing in just a couple moments here. Yeah, that's the question, Cookies. I was kind of expecting you to. I actually just mentioned that, right? These were played a bit, like quite a bit ago, I suppose. Perhaps over a week even. It's kind of funny how time flies, huh? At any rate, we do have LEVs done, like I said. Again, though, it's 2 on RUs on the main, so it's going to be quite a big, like, quite a lot of RUs that he builds up. You can see he's already got, like, 250 almost, right? So, I'm curious to see what he does with them. Obviously, I've got about 200 as well, so... But not quite as much. Here come the first little scuffles here as the LEVs and the Skims going to meet each other out in the field. And he's definitely got more than me, but obviously I have the defender's advantage with the frontline production, so... I do have a blast drone producing off this base runner as well. It should be kept in mind. No tech yet from Cookies, but I'm going to start up my Assault Ship Fab. And hello, A-Game. Welcome back. We're going to cast all of the games today if I can, so stay tuned for that. It's quite a few LAVs at this point. Cookies, though, probably wanting to build like a Sport Cruiser right here, yeah? But perhaps he's fleet cap? No, he dropped another AIM, so he should have money for it. I think that's a Sport Cruiser on the way for him now. Although it's hard to tell because, of course, the production tab pretty bugged out as usual. First contact's going to go my way then, it looks like, as he does send one LAV in to the fray there, which will probably perish. Well, it actually already has, so I can say that for sure. He wants to target the BD. You noticed he was very quick on that, but then he switches targets to the salvagers there as I pop the smoke here. Really big BD hit then. Gonna keep me more or less alive. Seems like I want to chase this down, but this is maybe a questionable fight for the Skims to take, actually, because obviously the LAVs have really good, like, kiting ability there, so, and they do get even a little spot of high ground over that dune. So I'm just gonna back away. I mean, I'm feeling okay about this. You can see I actually brought the carrier over to try and, like, help react to this, but it looks like I didn't need it. Apparently Text Power 1 also. But yeah, Blast Drone's pretty good. I always love casting people who play Conf and actually go for Blast Drone plays, because, like, man, they're just so intense, you know what I mean? But Armor 1 done, by the way, so I'm going to start building those off this PC. And that means now I have actually the push obligation here. It looks to me like, okay, I held the greed, I'm probably going to get ahead, right? But that's not necessarily true, because as you can see, Cookies did move up onto 2 base. Like I said, he queued up that Sport Cruiser. You can tell by the tracks here that he had a little bit of a fun time getting it into position, but that's alright. AV Fab on the way for him as well now. So, I mean, the idea is that, obviously, he actually does get up onto 2 base about as fast as me, so I need to actually use my tech advantage and, like, push onto him now. And that is indeed going to be the play here. For now, it's LAV upgrades coming out from him, though. Damage 1. I don't know, he didn't see assault ship tech. I mean, this is perhaps why he's doing this. I held it off just using the blast drone and the sand skimmers, so he may not really realize that anything is coming his way. Blast drone moving off into a rather conspicuous position here. Obviously, targeting the main, you would expect, but the second one that I would need to like get a hit in is not yet done, so obviously nothing gonna happen too crazy right now. But I do have sand skimmers up on the third, just trying to watch, make sure that he doesn't go up to there while I'm not looking. And another PC on the way for me, clearly. Cookie is not building anything just now, so he does have a bit of a float. He's got that AV tech done, or he could lock in some other kind of tech as well now, but it looks like he's kind of too busy microing at the moment. As obviously this assault ship, you know, it is here fighting these LAVs. And the blast drones could maybe do something too, but I feel like I don't need them because I do have 2 assault ships here and a third one coming up as well. Yeah, it looks like he is just going to tech straight up into assault cruiser fab, actually. That's pretty interesting. Assault cruisers are good units, that's for sure, on this map, but I feel like he needs to do something with these AAVs first. I mean, assault ships, that is. He should build AAVs of his own. And with the targeting jammer in tow off the space runner, he should be able to take that fight. So he's building something now, but again, production tab woefully bugged, as always, in DOK. It looks like for now the LAVs know that there's something over here, so he wants to go try to clear it out, but once I see those sand skimmers, these 2 blast drones here are going to activate. As well as maybe the assault ships as well, to be honest. Yeah, it looks like the entire army gonna move in there, and I do have my PC out as well, so I'm gonna start filling up my third base. Okay, he did actually make a couple of AVs. That bodes well for him. Targeting jammer committed to try and hunt these down. And then I thought that was pretty cool. I actually hit the detonate button when they're outside, and then slid them inside the targeting jammer just a little bit. So pretty powerful hit on the eco. It only leaves 2 salvagers up. And amazingly, these skims got out too, like all 4 of them. That doesn't seem right. I guess maybe he was just too busy dealing with like the flank there. Was not able to hunt them down. So that bodes really, really well for me, obviously. Uh-oh, and all of these salvagers are idle now too. Oh gosh, I don't really know how that's happened, but yeah, no, definitely. Because like the thing is, targeting jammers are seen as like a nice counter to blast drones, right? But technically only if you have them contain so much that the blast drones can't detonate on the radius and still do damage. So, and like I said, if you hit the detonate button as it's like coming into the zone, it actually has like a little bit of a delay, which I always thought was really annoying because sometimes when you're microing, it'll mess you up. But in this case, I can use that delay to like have them slide into the targeting jammer and blow up inside of it. So. Advanced blast drone mechanics, of course, as always. And we have Con of Siege locked in, by the way. Obviously, air is definitely a possibility, especially when you feel like you've gotten ahead here. Although on this map, it doesn't seem terribly good because it's pretty small, and obviously we do expect assault cruisers to come out, especially if he had AVs here. So, assault cruiser anti-air, not a very niche tech. I mean, it's quite likely he might go for that. So. Gonna choose to forgo air entirely, then I just go straight to Con of Siege. Pretty good unit, as you know. Actually floating a little bit, am I? Looks like, oh no, don't do that. Oh, okay, I just finished the fleet cap up. I thought I had just, like, gone straight into Siege Cruiser range upgrade without getting unfleet cap there. That would have been pretty bad. Pretty low on RUs, as you can see. I mean, obviously, if I just build assault ships in the Con of Siege, I'll run out. But I can just go through a bit of a skim phase, and that'll be okay for me. And I do have another base runner coming out also, so I want to go for more extraction pressure. Range upgrade coming out now, finally, for the Con of Siege. And the first one is hitting the field now. It's about halfway through the map. So this armor, by the way, for my opponent doesn't have any upgrades, and I've actually got armor 3 now that I look at it. So this is obviously a fight that I'm going to win. Especially because armor upgrades are really, really effective against just AVs in particular. And obviously they have a big effect against assault ships too, but not quite as much. Pro's going to get hunted down, by the way, on the right flank. He wants to make this push then, but it's going to be difficult. He does have that targeting jammer ready to deploy, but also the Con of Siege is here, so there's a lot of targets that he's got to block up if he wants to make this work. AVs might actually win this fight 2v3, but obviously not with the Con of Siege cruiser molesting them at the same time, so that's gonna turn out pretty nicely for me. Sand Skimmer is actually up here on the high ground as well. They're gonna be able to fight against the LAVs, even though they don't have an upgrade lead. Gotta watch for friendly fire here, though. That's what Con of Siege does best, you know? But as you can see, this fight going very, very well for me. And then in the meantime as well, actually, I didn't catch this, but apparently I've come around on the back side here. Pushed my opponent off of his main base. He's got support cruisers out, so he's going to be able to just kind of flip and try and keep control of this. He does have an assault cruiser out as well. But this army is looking pretty darn scary because obviously all those LAVs died as well. So there's a lot that I've got to play with here. And you can see Assault Cruiser is pretty scary. It does a lot of damage to those skims there. And it is a unit that can fight kind of siege as well. The question is, are we ever really going to get into like an equal fight here? Extraction does come out for me, it brings the scoreline to 2 out of 5. And EMP taking for me also because obviously I'm fighting against Assault Cruisers. And I feel like you need EMP to deal with that, really. Because Assault Cruisers, I think in a 1v1 will actually usually win, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at the numbers for this in a while, but having that ability to stun it up and then just do damage while it can't fight back, really, really powerful. Can also fight the carrier, of course, that's definitely true too. Just managed to fling one shell in there. But not a huge amount of damage, of course. Problem for Cookies, really, I think, is that this flank is still not secured. It may never become so. EMP gonna be a miss, by the way, so that's pretty nice for Cookies. But I do get both the extracts out, so that brings the scoreline to 4 out of 5. Again, that means, you know, one more artifact and I'll win the game. So, obviously, one of them will come up in mid and then over here at about the same time, but it's probably going to be this one that I go for off the second base runner. After I only need one, so the pressure to make my opponent come to me is going to be there regardless. And I have a siege cruiser actually coming out to this flank now, so when that happens, it's not going to be a temporary hold, right? I mean, we'll hold that basically as long as it takes for him to bring a lot back over there to commit. But if he does that, he's probably going to lose to artifacts. So that's kind of the idea. I've got a lot of blast drones built up as well, but the sand skimmers are taking a lot of fire here now. I should probably just get them out of here. Gonna commit the blast drones in here then, because I just want to win this fight on the extraction zone. That's about half the health of that assault cruiser. And both the AC is just gonna go ham on the siege cruiser here, but it probably will not be enough because they both started the fight at half, so able to take this one. Oh, and it looks like in fact Group 1 went down. The Savan carrier. I put that on Group 1 when I'm casting. He realizes, like, yeah, that's not going to work out for me, so he chooses to surrender, and that will be the game. So game 1 going in my favor. As to the line of sight things, I think it's because, like, the turret height actually matters when you're, considering, like, the turret height matters quite a bit when you're considering the, like, line of sight for a unit. If the turret is high enough that it can, like, shoot over a dune, it'll often hit units that, like, can't shoot back at you, right? So I don't know the exact details of like what happened there, but that seems like it was probably the deal. Game 2 gonna be on the Boneyard. I should actually mention the pick bans here. Well, I don't know. I mean, Con of Siege actually floats pretty high, and the Assault Cruiser turret is just mounted on the top, but so it's not like very high up. Yeah, but obviously the Con of Siege is mounted on the front. It should be lower down. Yeah, I don't know. It's curious. Oh, no, wait, Con of Siege is actually mounted on the top of the unit as well, isn't it? Now that I think about it. Because it fires from like right here. Yeah, I guess that is a bit odd. Oh well. I didn't mention the pick bans at all, so I had banned Canyon Outpost and Cookies bans the Shallows. He picks College Teeth for game 1. Again, thinking it's his pick, he'll probably AV rush, right? But I picked the Boneyard for the next map here. Firebase Krill follows this. Then we go to Kartoba and Galzian territories. Galzian territory is a really nice map for me, but I feel like Kartoba is as well, because obviously you can rail rush on there as well. Or just do some early aggro in general. But for sure on the Boneyard, you know what my plan was going to be. And hey, look at this, we got this spawn, so who could guess? Who could guess that it would be a rail rush on this map, eh? Classic Bozo. We do have skims coming out on the PC, then obviously open up here on that side. I've done this build a million times. I'm pretty comfortable with it. It's going to be pretty radically different in the next Jaraci patch because of some changes to heavy railguns, but we'll cover that later, I suppose. For now, we nearly have the money for railgun fabs. That probably will be my next pick. Oh, 349. That's a paddling right there. However, it is carry production upgrade for Cookies, and he's going straight into railgun fab. So I mean, does he know? Yeah, he knows for sure. I mean, this is a very targeted read, I think. You know, he's quite aware of what the plan is here. Obviously, I tend to make some assault railguns if I feel like it's LAV spam coming out, and I see that LAV already, so I'm probably going to suspect as much. And then he'll have railguns really fast. This will be interesting to see what he's gonna get done with them. Maybe with that, he's able to actually push out across the field aggressively at me. But see, I just got vision on how many numbers there are. There's like 4 of these LAVs out right now. I just need to see that so that I can kind of get an idea of like what I'm up against here. This is going to be a game where I want to get second PC pretty fast. That much is definitely for sure. But in the meantime, building an assault rail to try and buy some time is obviously kind of the MO here. Cookie's playing Saban though. You must realize that Saban base runner with its targeting jammer can really mess you up if you step into it. So definitely this is not easy for either player, I guess I'll say. This is gonna be really tense when these fights get taken. Assault rail pops just a little bit late here, so I have to give up that hill a tad early, but the base runner was coming up to try and deny anyway. Cookie's okay, I was gonna say he's starting to float a little bit there, but he did start queuing something up. I assume that's probably a railgun then. I have my second PC on the way though, like I said, I want to get that fast as I can. Power 1 teching from him as well, that's kind of interesting. Is that a railgun? Yes. Okay, so he's got rails out already. And again, like I said, the idea is that the railguns can make this assault railgun have to be a little bit sparse. But I'm still, like, I'm kind of afraid just of this base runner, to be honest. Like, I already don't want to get targeting jammered, so I'm sort of playing this a little bit cautious. This is, I think, the problem with the railgun rush, though, in general, is that, like, I can do this and still win the game, right? Although, looks like I'm actually going back to ref mode here. But, like, I can do this and still win the game because I'm still reaching, like, my power spike eventually. It feels kind of uninteractive that way. This is definitely a little bit different, though. I'm actually going into ref mode here. I don't remember doing this. Because, you know, when I picked Boneyard, my plan was definitely to rail rush, right? So, LAV is going to be seen here, trying to push that assault railgun off of this hill. I kind of, like, I want to deny vision if I can here, but obviously that probe is out. I don't know if I actually saw this, though. But ref mode is only about 25 seconds away, so what Cookies has to do is expand on the eco or counterattack, and he doesn't really know which necessarily until he sees that I'm going for ref mode. When this PC comes back, or when this probe comes back, maybe this will be the tell, because I'll see both of them back at the base there. So I wonder if he just queues up a support cruiser immediately. I think he's got the money for it. Yeah, he does. Although, it depends if he's got the fleet capacity. Looks like he did not. Has to drop the module there. Not a single unit lost except for that probe on the field. Not what you tend to expect to see from a rail rush, is it? He does have his base runner out, right? He kept this, so he can go for some extraction pressure on top of this counterattack here. But having the 2 production lines, I do actually outdo him on skim production now, so no upgrades for either of us. But if I want to, oh, well, I probably need to get fleet capacity up first, but if I want to, I can actually start trying to push across the field now myself if I have, like, the skim lead here. But again, that base runner's still up. Gotta watch out for the targeting jammers, so. Extraction pressure would have been smarter? Yeah, probably. Although, again, that targeting jammer is a powerful ability, but if you're going to push in, I feel like the window is kind of already passing here. I think that this is a sport cruiser, yes. So he is going to move up onto 2 base, which is good. Well, I'm saying understay. I think that with the production upgrade on the LAVs, he probably wanted to just push in really, really fast. Because I think the problem is just that the counterattack is a little bit too slow here. One sand skimmer going to be sacrificed to the LAV gods? Not quite, apparently. Just to get out of there on its last legs. I don't have rating, mind you, so this is a little bit tough. Although I'm working around the PCs here, so I do have like an extra 10 speed. 11, actually, I think. What is it, 8%? Yeah, that does seem about right then. Armor 2 coming up for me then as well. But I'm just trying to keep my 3 base up if I can, but I know that I don't have too much pressure. I assume that my opponent is not on 3 base himself, and sure enough, he's not, so. Got an idle here, huh? Well, you'll have that. Targeting jammer deployed, like, forced to be deployed a little bit defensively here. That's quite nice for me, because that means that if I feel like I can take this fight, I can just take it now. And sure enough, I've got the numbers, and I have the upgrade lead. Oh my gosh, I have the numbers by like 10, actually. I didn't realize just how many of them there were. But I've got armor 2, he's got nothing here, so gonna be able to clean up pretty much this whole blob, I mean, you would expect. I still have an idle self, yeah, well, that's pretty meh, but, you know, maybe I'll figure it out eventually. So all of that stuff gets cleared out now. And now things get really tough for Cookies, because he does have production line upgrades, so he can, like, make a bunch of LAVs here, but Well, I mean, I've got a lot of skims, obviously. I was thinking to myself here, I can probably, like, do a rail rush then, if you will, right? Except that I'm on 3 base now, but, you know, I can keep pushing on him. That's funny. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, so I'm fully saturated. I thought I had built too many cells because I had that one guy idle. Only thing that I need, though, right, is going to be Missile Ship Fab, I figured. Because, obviously, if he goes for air, I'm going to need to, like, normally in a rail rush, you have your PCs in the front line, so they handle anti-air for you, but I'm not going to be able to use that here, so... Missile Ship Fab on the queue for me then, and then EMP round's going to be unlocked for the heavy rails also, so that I have that going from Ray 2. Although, to be honest, range calibration was probably more valuable here. Another railgun pop for Cookies, though. This may well kill the assault rail off. He does have that probe up there. There's nothing that I can do about the probe getting vision. Yeah, it does manage to catch that assault rail. Maybe could have saved that if I would have just moved it over the dune there, but... Mistakes were made, what can I say? EMP rounds done now for the heavy railguns, which 2 of them are out, moving across the field. But I'm going to prioritize getting a missile ship now, and then range calibration coming out too, so I guess I've got all the money in the world. That makes sense though, because I'm on 2 base, right? Or 3 base, so... And if I can just hold my opponent off of getting his 3rd setup, I'm already winning here, right? That's all I've really got to do. Savan railguns with their redonkulous accuracy managing to take out a skim there. But that's small losses, I can rebuild that. Really missing the kind of carry at this point. Yeah, I mean, if you got the missiles to just try and siege down all these skims, right, it'd be pretty big. I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, either way, this would be rough, obviously, but that would definitely help things. Railgun's getting up onto this hill. This is where I want to be. You can see, obviously, he did manage to push that carrier out to here, because it took me a while to bring these guys up here. I mean, obviously, Rail Rush has the production cruisers in the front line for a reason, right? But they are here now. There's 3 of them. And they have EMP also, which means that I could dive onto this, like, AV here if I wanted to. Targeting jammer deployed on top of these, the heavy rails, but that's not really going to do too much. The skims will clear it up pretty fast. That is 1 EMP fired on the base burner to try and catch it. Insult to injury, fired 30 EMP on it. Although, frankly, that was probably just a mistake. Fighter and gunship gonna get teched by him then, but what he doesn't know is that there's a missile battery just like, or missile ship that is just right out of vision here, so if he continues that tech, unfortunately I do already have the counter to it, which is a little bit rough. Rating upgrades teching for me now then, because obviously I wanted to go for as many skimmer upgrades as I can get here, since I do have quite a lot of them out on the field. And range calibration used briefly there, but I have to kind of back away, give a bit of respect to these LAVs here, so I'm gonna back the heavy railguns out a little bit. But, you know, that calibration upgrade is going to be really powerful. I'm obviously always going to be happy that I've got that. What's the cooldown on EMP? Oh my gosh, this must have been a passive effect when they were first working on it, because it doesn't have like a cooldown. That's kind of ridiculous. Can you imagine heavy railguns just like passively having EMP? That's insane. Oh, by the way, holy moly, this is a lot of railguns. To be fair, there's only 1 missile ship here trying to act as the anchor. I haven't seen that tech yet because, well, he doesn't have it. So maybe if he can find a way to just kill this 1 missile ship, he'll be able to get away with something. But this is where it gets really rough, though, right? Yeah, passive railgun EMP. I mean, that's crazy, right? Can you imagine how OP that would be? My goodness. Anyway. Where it gets rough here is that with range calibration on, I can actually reach down to like here off of that hill, so... Oh, so did you, like, when you were testing the beta, was it a passive? Like, did you play with it? What did it feel like? Because that just seems insanely powerful. I mean, you would always win a rail fight that way, right? As soon as I saw that, I called it out. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because, like, if you can just stun railguns and just always win that fight, I mean... Those Gal OP memes would maybe be real. Here come the strike fighters, by the way, but there's only 2 of them. And like I was saying about range calibration, now that I can reach, you know, like that far in range, things are gonna get really bad. So, Cookies agrees, he just chooses to surrender. No reason to play this one out. And game 2 will go to me, but not quite in the way we expected. I mean, in a way you could say this was a rail rush. It sure looks like it, except I'm on 3 base. Yeah, just so you could see him. Just so you could see him try it out. I mean, that's fair, though. A lot of players actually are, like, strangely... Like, they've got this weird opinion of, like, the GG, that, like, you shouldn't just surrender if your carrier's gonna die anyway. Like, I don't get it. There's no honor in getting a carrier kill, right? Just leave the game if you're gonna lose. Oh, well. Game 3, as I said, gonna be on Firebase Krill, is also match point here. Having won 2-0 for now. This would be the victory in the series for me if I'm able to take this game. Looks like we got 4 on CUs here. 2 cells being produced, base burner retained, so this is probably, gonna be, what do you call it? Just ref mode, right? Herrera. It's kind of crazy to me to think that you, like, you know the MP designer from BBI. Well, I don't know, but he was from BBI, right? I mean, I can't imagine who else it would have been. Like, I was under the impression that he still works there and he's going to be working on Homeworld 3, which is one reason I'm really hyped for that game. Because, like, Homeworld has always been a really fun game to look at, right? But, I mean, I feel like Homeworld 3 is going to be a fun game to play, like DOK is as well. By the way, this is not ref mode first. 4 on CUs, and then I started getting Sandscreamer Fab. So I'm not actually sure what the plan is for me here, but it's got to be something with blast runs. Yeah, you can see that those are queuing up now. Problem is this is a bit dry, and in fact it is AV Fab coming out too. Oh shoot, that's crazy. But he's not at BBI anymore. Where did he leave to? Do you know? By the way, rec open for me now. Going to start long distance mining over here, but AV Fab is done now for cookies. He's actually built an LDM of his own. He's got all 6 on the main though. So this is probably a little bit overcommit into long distance mining. Because he's got that AV tech, you want to just get it out as fast as you can. Yeah, he does queue up 1 now. He only has 1 LAV now, right? So down goes that LAV. And heavy vehicles, armor 1 coming out for him now. If I see that tech, which I'm not sure if I did, I'm definitely going to want to back away here, because right now I'm just teching fleet cap. I don't have any money for tech here, right? I could go to rails then, because I almost have that many RUs up. It's going to be assault ships instead. So in that case, I'll probably try and go back and get economy set up as well, but I can't do it yet, obviously, because like if I do that, well, you know, I might just die to these AVs. So I need to build up some defense. Whoa, that PC was dragging into the ground there. Oh, yeah, I remember that one on Torn Crater, right? I think I cast that one. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, like, DOK is just such a, like, tremendously good game. I really wish he was still at BBI, because, like, clearly the guy who made this, I know it's not one guy, but you know what I mean. The designers behind this, like, the multiplayer designers, they knew what the heck they were doing, right? I mean, if they're behind Homeworld 3, it's going to turn out tremendously. Soldier Fab close, by the way, about 13 seconds away. Look at this positioning from Cookies, though. He's playing this really, really safe. And again, like, keeping LAVs up alive in the beginning is big, but this Salvager here basically could have been 2 LAVs of his own. If he has him alive and he can get vision and see where I am, he can be a lot more aggressive with these AVs here. I do see this one, so I know it's time for me to come back home, try and defend. But definitely this attack could be a lot more attacky. You know what I mean? I've only seen 1 AV, it's in a bit of an odd position, right? I'm not really afraid yet. Armor 1 coming out for me, although I do have another PC queued. Right? Didn't I see that? Maybe not. Well, perhaps I canceled it. I guess ref mode is coming up here. Yeah, exactly, because you don't know, right? You don't have any vision on there. I think in general, if it's going to be LAV rush, you want to, or AV rush, you want to not build LDMs. So that's probably what's occurring here. Armor 1, Armor 2 actually is done for Cookies here, so he'd win a one-on-one. Although of course I do have some high ground there. Armor 2 gonna be good though, because look how many AVs he's got, right? Ref mode is close for me, so I'm gonna actually move this PC out here and try and cover the base. I haven't seen these guys yet, so I'm believing right now that it's just like 1 AV here, which is a little bit strange. I'll probably be a little bit unhappy to see that all these AVs start coming out through the like, you know, they're gonna show up right here on my vision. very, very close to that main base. But I do have blast drones here on the base front, as you can see. I think I'm probably waiting for 3 before I do anything. Mobility support powered up here seems like a bit of a mistake, not gonna lie. I probably meant to put that into weapons, but... Assault ships are coming back home to try and defend here. AVs are smoking okay as well, but the carrier block is not bad for me. Doesn't look like they're gonna get too many hits, but they will definitely kill salvagers. 2 of them going down so far. Third one in some danger here. Smoke deployed to try and buy a bit of time, but this AV here unfortunately is just too far out. It probably just needed to turn around and try and keep itself alive. Because it's not gonna get much done on its own. Yeah, and that was 4 for 2, right? Actually, in vanilla, I think that would be a fine trade, but in patch, obviously, with units being more expensive. And salvagers are more expensive, too, to be fair, but doesn't seem like that trade is terribly good. Support cruiser, by the way, is out for cookies, though, so this is not horrible. He is on 2 base at about the same timing as me. I have to rebuild a couple salves, so in a sense, he will actually get a little bit ahead here. But I do have the much better army on the field now, so it's time for me to make my counterattack. No air this time, it's going to be Railgun Fab coming up for cookies. Well, that's relatable, cookies. You know how I used to play it. I still do, to be fair, quite often. But yeah, the good news for cookies is that if you just build some defense, I need to rebuild eco for now, so the counterattack's not going to be too strong. I can't just, like, stack up units like I would like to. Curious, I'm always managing to split some guys up there with these, with this high ground here. Yeah. I mean, he'd be like, check the units lost tab, man, and I'll be like, do I have to, you know? Because you look, you know, and it would be like, huh, Descara has lost 20 units, Bozo has lost 50, and I'm like, well, I think I'm ahead here, and Agam's like, no, you're not. Good times, man, good times. Things have definitely changed a lot from there. I like to say Bozo from 2020 would probably beat A-Game from 2018. That's how I know I have improved, right? I think it's clear I don't often beat A-Game from 2020, but you know. At least I've improved. Smoke deployed from the base printer to try to keep these units alive for a bit, by the way. 4 blast drones, though. I'm not sure if you noticed that, I was kind of hovering over them. I built up a lot here, you don't usually stack up that much. And this is why, right, I just wanted to, like, get the army to leave. If I can take a fight, even that I'm not really going to win, it's totally fine if I can just get him to leave so I can bring these BDs in here. And it looks like I want to get a hit on the main base as well, but I need to be careful here, because obviously that carrier might stop me. Ooh. Looks like these BDs is going to keep themselves alive on the corner of the map then, for now. Where they will probably be forfeit, but at least they pull the army, right? Although, who knows, they might even manage to make it over this, like, across this side right here. Blast drones, by the way, pretty good, like, self-healing. I mean, as you can see, it triggers really fast. This is kind of like skims are, I think, in vanilla, right? So, actually able to get those out of there, although it turns out he had no vision the whole time, so it's not a huge accomplishment. But you get what I'm saying. They can come back and show up again later, so this is obviously, this threat is not gone yet. He never checked that corner, though, did he? Well, maybe he did with this carrier, actually. You see, I'm actually going to try and sneak back into that corner there. For certain, this gave him, like, a sensors blip, but... Oh, scanner pings, right. If I'm in that corner, you can actually probably already see me, because the ALMs have this, like, giant contact radius. That being said, though, they're getting in for now. There's a couple LAVs hunting them down, though. Mark target used. I really love that. Not clear that it's going to be able to get in and make a hit. Yeah, it doesn't look like it will. But again, there's another BD here as well, so I've only actually got to hit 1. Skims sacrificing themselves, that's fine. But I do manage to get 2 soldiers off the main, so I guess my attention a bit split there. It makes it look a little bit awkward, but yeah, 2 salvagers go down off the main. Armor 2 coming out for me now. He's got armor 3, mind you, on these AVs, but I also have Con of Siege, which is obviously a pretty big tech lead, I would say. First one I'm going to start building now. And then I probably need to get fleet capacity up, but we'll start getting those upgrades for the Con of Siege as you do. I've been on 3 base for a while now, and Cookie's just now starting to get it set up, so I would say I have a pretty significant eco lead, especially because 2 guys are missing off the main here. More blast drones. As you would expect. I mean, why not, right? Again, though, this is a unit that has big value even late into the game, so I mean, why not just keep building them? I've only gotten one extract here because this base runner's kind of been on like production duty, trying to hide in corners and stuff. So maybe I've kind of traded that for some artifacts, but I think its damage has been really worth. I mean, obviously we cleaned out the second base entirely once. We've done damage to the main, and we've threatened him a lot here. I mean, he has to be... Excuse me, I've got hiccups. As always. He has to be, like, really unduly careful, right, to just not get killed by blast drones here. LAV's coming out, by the way. I was actually expecting to find his carrier here, but it's not, so... But, you know, I'll take LAVs. They don't seem to be too much of a threat to assault ships, as you would expect. Not sure where these guys want to go now, though. Looks like I'm just going to try and get out over this hill here. But again, you always attack where your opponent isn't. I've pulled him out this direction, so... Oh, actually, look at this. I might even just be able to get salvagers off of this space. It looks like I can. That's pretty rough. But obviously, my sights are now set on this side of the map, because he's going to come back and try and deal with me over here. Assault Cruiser Fab teching 4 cookies, like I said. It's about 35 seconds out. But it's a little bit low tempo. I mean, he started that, obviously, before, you know, before all of this happened, which was quite bad for him, but, I don't know, it doesn't really seem like it's going to be terribly good for him, unfortunately. Armor 3 coming up, by the way, so this is actually not going to be upgrades for the Con of Siege just yet. But I mean, I've hurt these guys enough already that I think probably I'll be able to win this fight with my assault ships, and I do send a barrage their way also, but it looks like that was a bit of a miss. Well, I say that as it gets 2 kills. That's pretty nice for me. Yeah, well, I know exactly what you mean. Like, when I'm playing against A-game, let's say, and he goes Con F, right? Often against Galzian, you feel like, yeah, obviously he had a pretty good attack here, but I think we're okay. We're probably going to stabilize, right? And then, but if it's Con F, right, you see a Con of Siege Cruiser, and you're like, oh, I guess we lose. I mean, it's like the ultimate unit for, like, capitalizing on, the ultimate unit for capitalizing on getting a lead, you know what I mean? Because what are you going to do about it? You have to have a very strong answer, like, immediately. Blast drones, by the way, hovered around the main base here to try and get a hit, but, like, I realized after a bit, like, well, I mean, I'm going to kill these with the assault ships anyway, there's no point even bothering. And then I realized the same about the second base too, so, you know, I'll just kind of keep them. No reason to commit them in somewhere if I don't need them. These assault ships here looking a little bit silly. Looks like actually they will commit in just on the siege cruisers, because why not, but... Yeah, these assault ships here are A+ micro, of course, for me. Range upgrade is now done on the Con of Siege. Now we've hemmed him in onto 1 base, or really 0 base to be fair. He doesn't have any salvagers up anymore. This will probably be more or less a done deal. I also built 2 base runners, it looks like, so I'm gonna get a double extract on the way. This little barrage here to soften him up from this Con of Siege cruiser. Obviously they do have quite a long range, as you can see. And it looks like Cookie's not at all interested in seeing how this one plays out once again, so he is just going to choose to surrender. And that will be the game, and indeed the series going to be 3-0. Good fight put up by Cookies, but of course, it's me, so he didn't even have a chance. Sorry about that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's move on to the next one, but it was a good series.